All right, when we left off, we were gonna export. We were done with this, and we're gonna export it for now. So what we're gonna do is go File, Recent File. Oh, that's not it. Sorry. We're gonna go. The shortcut for it is Control Shift E. It's the default one. Control Shift E. So this is the exporting window that you see in Substance. And you can look at a few things right here. First off, it's going to say where it's exporting it. We want to change that. We want to change it someplace local, someplace, let's see if it's, okay. Someplace here, we're going to say we'll send it over to this folder here. And we look at it. If we drop down here, we can see what it's going to export. It's going to export the Crate 10 base color. It's going to Crate 10 rough, Crate 10 metallic, Crate 10 normal, and then Crate 10 height and emissive. So let's talk about what we're seeing here. This is because we've had the setting set to the default setting. We don't want to set it to PBR rough, but if you want to look, there's a ton of them in here. We want to set it to standard metallic for Unity 5. So that helps us see better that we're going to get albedo, a middle smooth, because it's different than what we were doing, and a normal and an emission. So this also says the size and it says the file type. So let's take a look at, if we wanted to change this, I don't see a height map, for example, and I don't see an AO map. So how would we do that? Well, the way Substance Painter decides for us to be able to do that is it gives us this configure button. And what I'm going to do real quick is remove. Okay. So if we come down this list, we can see that that PBR setting was in here somewhere, PBR middle rough, that's what we started with. And then we came down to this standard metallic, and this is for Unity 5. And you can see it has these in here. And you'll see it says RGB, this is the type of file, type of texture you're going to be looking at. And then it's using the alpha. And if you look at the color coordination, so the RGB and the red RGB is going to be the base color. The alpha is going to be based off the opacity of it. So we don't really have any, but it's built in there in case we use it. Then it's going to metallic for this, and it's going to go orange for normal OpenGL for the normal. And then it's going to go to this one for emission, which is this. We don't even have emission on this one at this point. I guess we could put it in. But still, it doesn't have the AO or the height map. So how would we do this? Well, we don't want to overwrite the original one we have. So what we're going to do is just duplicate it. And you'll see it makes a metal copy. And we're going to call this, if we double click on it, we're going to call this let's call it Crate Settings. Okay, so it's a little longer. We could probably get this off and, let's make it easier so we can see it in the list better. I'm just going to get rid of all this metallic stuff. Unity 5. Okay, so it's called Crate Settings. Now, why did I do that and if I haven't changed anything? So what we want, if you look down here, you'll see that there's a height map, right? Okay, that's cool. And then if we look over here, we get this thing called Mixed AO. So both of those textures are black and white. So what do we do about that? What is that useful for? Well, let's see. If we're going to come up here and we'll look at the type of textures we could use, we can see that it's set to gray. We're going to go, I said, push that button for gray, and then we're going to change this one to AO. And what we'll do is, let's talk about these naming conventions. Texture set, and then what the albedo is. And if we keep going back more, maybe I can stretch it out so we can see it. It's going to tell us the mesh, it's going to tell us the texture set, and it's going to tell us the transparency. It's up to you what you like. What I'm going to do is just leave the texture set on here like that. So I'm going to delete that, and then delete that. And these are just the names, so we aren't really breaking anything. The $ means what it already is. It goes to find what it needs. So we're going to take this right here and go copy, and then we're going to come down here, Control C, and paste it. Now, right now, this gray map isn't getting any information, so we don't know what it's doing. But as you probably could guess, we look over here for that AO we talked about. And if I click and drag it, and I drag it right on top of the gray, and then I say from gray channel. And now I've got this purple that is assigned to that. So we're going to do this again. We're going to add a gray, because we want height, and we're going to take this texture and paste it because we still have that in our copy, and we're going to say Heighd. So now we have our height map. And then we're going to come to the gray, find where the height map information is, and throw it on there. And we'll say from the gray channel. Because it's not going to use the alpha channel, it's going to use a black and white gray channel. We could actually put one of these in the alpha channel, but let's just make it simple for ourselves. So that's it. You don't even have to do anything else. If you come back out here to export, this time when I open it, it's going to be at the bottom of the list because it's brand new. But eventually it's going to be alphabetical. It'll be probably in the middle here. So for now, if I just go to crate settings and click, you'll see it says crate settings, or crate 10 because it's the name of the set, and then crate 10, crate 10, crate 10, AO. I've told it where to go. I've told it what to do, and I'm going to click on the word export. And say OK. Let's go look and see what it did. We'll open up this, go to week 4, wherever that is. I'll go to textures, and there we go. That's the week 4. I put it out here, and it went to textures. And I go into textures, and there they all are. There's my 5, 6 maps, which is what I'll use inside of the game. Now, you can add other maps like you saw in there. If we go back to that exporter, oops, wrong button. If we go back to that exporter, you can come over to configuration. As long as you're on the same, we're not on that one. We're going to come on down to C now because now it's moved. And we can look, and we can do glossiness, we can do diffuse, we can do displacement if we have a displacement I'm putting on there. We can do roughness, reflective, scatter, specular level, transmissive, and then there's some user-defined ones we could use. Specular reflection, Unity, normal X, depending on if we're going into Unity, which is OpenGL, or normal DirectX. It's just the way it renders it. I know we still use OpenGL. And then anyway, so you get the idea. And then we have some other mesh maps up here. We could actually export the maps that it's already rendered for us. That's the other thing I could point out. All right, so now we have it. We're done with this for now. We've got our export and everything set up. And that's it for today.